And so I think that on a whole, like, we can talk about physical structures all day long. We can talk about like different ways to structure the world or societies or systems, but if you break it down, like people, like we, like what I was saying before, is we have all the tools. What's missing is the attentional bandwidth. People are so consumed in like what they're doing that they have no room to actually transcend what they're thinking now and be like, whoa, okay, okay, what are we doing? Like, why am I doing this?
That brings up a lot of the
Right.
issues we were discussing earlier about specialization versus the sprawl of, what are all of the things that you pay attention to.
Well, it's also these thought forms, literally corporations, corpus, body, like these great bodies. These are the leviathans of our time. They have supplanted the state as a collective body, and most people serve corporations, either as consumers or working directly for them. They are they have the rights as people now, via the Supreme Court, in several different ways. And it can be argued, although this is super controversial, that they are the dominant life form on this planet in a few different ways. It's like people are feeding these corporations with time value. The number one currency of time value is money. So it's just like a tool which we have created to fulfill our desires has now taken charge of the desires, of fulfilling the desires of most humans on the planet.
So, Chris, you had brought up an interesting topic where you're talking about the individual versus the direction of the world, which I kind of paralleled multiple tiers. You could interpret that as the biological in competition with the digital. You could parallel that to logic versus emotion. You could parallel that to science versus religion. And I don't think these are things inherently in combat. I think as we've expressed the dualistic black and white nature that our current world is in, and hopefully continuing to get away from, really dives into this. I mean, these forces can work together. Logic and emotion can work together. Digital and biological work together. Science and religion work together. What are your thoughts in these areas?
Well, I mean, that's the whole point, is for them to work together. The issue with most people is that their thoughts and their emotions have been completely detached, and so what they're saying versus what they really mean a lot of times can be very different, or are different, and it's easy to see in our culture. But because we've made it wrong for people to feel a certain way, we've made it wrong for people to express their honest opinion because we feel like we have to emotionally take care of somebody else. We can't step on their toes, we can't make them mad, and so that limits our expression because we're afraid of them feeling bad, and so people are constantly in this bubble of being nice to each other all the time, and but they're just afraid not to say the wrong thing, and then again the attentional bandwidth gets eaten up because they're constantly trying to take care of everyone else in the room and themselves, and making sure that I'm okay and that I'm loved, and you have all these things going on, and it just strips anything new that coming into the space. And so, like, slowly but surely, what we need to do is reassure people. Well, first we have to take care of ourselves, being like, I can feel good, I can choose to feel good, I can take care of myself no matter what anyone else thinks of me. I do that, and then I encourage someone else to express their true feelings and their true thoughts, and that showing them that I can take that, and then that lets them feel safe and in full expression. Then when they feel safe in full expression, then these things start to work together, because then our natural tendency with the world that's created start to merge. And when those things start to merge, then we get we get our spirit with our brain, and then things literally will actually work themselves out from there, if that makes sense. 'Cause we have everything we need inside of us.
I like that, and it dovetails with the government path of the last, because I mean, most of the thesis of governance as it is today is from a backdrop of fear.
The entire societal structure is a backbone of fear.
Yeah, we gotta have them in control, because what if the XYZ comes over and with their QRS and they blow us to ABC, DEF, whatever. Insert enemy here, be it ISIS or the Chinese or whoever is probably a different color or a different socioeconomic class than we are as on average. It's like it's fear of differences. I'm super reminded of a 18th century article on breaking a slave. You can
Click on Duncan's chest.
Please don't click on my chest for that one. Not on my chest, okay? Can we?
I don't want it on my chest either.
Can we-
Just
All
to
All
be
right, well,
clear.
it'll be in the description below. We
Oh,
won't put it on
is.
anybody's chest.
Yeah, it's the most like insidiously awful thing. 'Cause he had the slave breaker who's like brought in to like make the plantation submit. It's like the first thing he says is first you have to train the women, because once you break the women, they train their children to obey. And then the second thing is that you exploit all differences between people, and that the best way to do that is through physical differences. So you give the lighter skinned slaves more freedom and more responsibility, and the darker skinned less. And then that gets them fighting between each other. The males will turn their aggressive assertion of selfhood to competing within each other and not against the master. You get those two things together, you are almost the whole way down towards breaking an entire population. And look at what we've been conditioned to do as a population against each other, against ourselves. It's bonkers. If you just read this essay on breaking slaves and apply it to your lives, my God, the kinks will come into place and the manacles will be made clear.